What could I possibly mean when I say the kings and the queens of the WWE? What's going on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal Spaz, Phoenix, the YWC Reality Check here with a topical video. I put a question out the other day. In the past few weeks, I've put out a couple of videos that I don't typically do. I'm not per se a news source. As I've always said, I'm not trying to be Sean's View Entertainment. And if you want news videos and updates and all that sort of thing, I will redirect you to my buddy OKFave. He does this much better than I do, but I will come up here every now and then when a topic strikes me. I put it out there on Twitter and on my last video. Would you guys be in favor of me doing more topical videos? Got a grand total of 1 response to that question. Thank you, Guapo. But I'm going to do it because I got a few here tonight that are maybe not groundbreaking, but they seem cool to me. They seem worth talking about. Now, I've got all my websites and stuff where I'm getting my information from, because it is all speculation. It is all just for the fun of the conversation. I'm not delivering any of this as fact. You know, it's a potential thing that could be happening. But I'm here to tell you, I'm here to share with you, hey, if this came along, what I would think of it, type of thing. Now, what I will say right off the bat is my face is going to be dark in half this video, because most of you know, many of you may not know, the lighting in this room is kind of shit. I'm at a desk right here. I'm not moving the camera, but desk is here. Computer's right here. Computer, I'm not going to lie, I will, hand on heart, I will tell you, what lights me up when I'm doing a video is I open up Notepad, a blank Notepad file, and it makes the screen as bright as you possibly can. And that's what creates the lighting in my videos. I'm not a high-tech guy. I'm definitely not a visual marvel. I'm sure most of you don't tune in to see my face anyways. But when we go to the first topic, by example, one of my sources that I'm going to be quoting tonight is No DQ. No DQ, most of you know, is a dark red and black screen. So then I'm going to start looking like this. I apologize. I'm looking for a better option to sort of eliminate this. Maybe you don't even care. Maybe you are listening to me ramble and you're doing some better things. But first topic is the King of the Ring. Now, you guys know I've been incredibly happy with the return of not only the Cruiserweight division, but the creation of the Cruiserweight Classic and the Cruiserweight title that's eventually going to be on Raw. Several years in a row, I did my yearly video, The Great Cruiserweight Debate. Hey, we should be doing the Cruiserweight division. Hey, we should be doing the Cruiserweight division. It was very important to me. It was something I missed. It was something that was a big draw for TNA. It was a big draw for WCW, and if I watched any other companies, I'm pretty sure it would be a draw for them too. It was hit and miss with the WWE initially, but now we have it. Now it's back. Now that's been my big cause over the past couple of years. Low-key, I've also been advocating that they bring back the King of the Ring. They kind of did it last year, kind of half-ass little show they put out there to promote the WWE Network. But No DQ has just been informed that WWE has applied for the trademark King of the Ring as an official event name back on July 28th. There are several brand exclusive pay-per-view events in 2017 that have not officially been named. King of the Ring is a single elimination tournament, rah-de-rah-de-rah, that has this history and that history. And it gives you the breakdown of what the King of the Ring was when it existed. I've always been in favor of it not being a TV show, it being a proper pay-per-view, it consuming the whole pay-per-view, not, in the later years before it died, I think they did the King of the Ring tournament and they just had the final of that tournament on a random pay-per-view, which it watered down the entire concept of it and its identity as an event. You know, the Royal Rumble matches at the Royal Rumble event, the King of the Ring tournament happens at the King of the Ring event. Now, how would I use it? There's 2 different ways I could use it. Now, you could make it a specific to one brand. If you wanted to say that the Money in the Bank event was specific to Raw, you could say that the King of the Ring was exclusive to SmackDown. You could do the King of the Ring. Now, this is going to sound stupid to a lot of people. Royal Rumble establishes the #1 contender for the main event at WrestleMania. You got a pay-per-view in between. Make that the King of the Ring. Now that we're going to have 2 titles again. Have the King of the Ring establish the #1 contender for the other championship at WrestleMania. Could be fun. Or what I have advocated for a long time is have the King of the Ring before SummerSlam. Have the winner of the King of the Ring get the same thing that the winner of the Royal Rumble gets, especially now with the 2 branded pay-per-views. Once again, you're going to have a situation where the winner of the King of the Ring, or sorry, the winner of the Royal Rumble, rather, goes on to face a champion of his choosing at WrestleMania. It could create a dynamic where the champion, or sorry, the challenger gets to choose, hey, am I going to stay on my own brand and fight for that title, or hop over to the other brand? You could do a very similar thing with the King of the Ring leading into SummerSlam, especially these days, the past couple of years, where they really have been trying to make SummerSlam the second WrestleMania, the second biggest show of the year. So you need to have that treatment. WrestleMania is so big that they have an entire other pay-per-view in the Royal Rumble designed and fashioned specifically to build to it. Now, use King of the Ring to build to SummerSlam the same way, and you could have the same thing. The winner of the King of the Ring gets to decide what brand he's on, gets to decide what title he goes for. It's all good. No matter how you do it, no matter how, if you use it as a brand jumping venue, if you just use it to build up another pay-per-view, if you use it as an exclusive, like, you know, the Cruiserweights are only on Raw, if King of the Ring only exists on SmackDown, that's something you have to watch SmackDown for. There's a whole lot, especially now, especially in the new era, after the brand split, after the brand extension, after the draft, 2 separate shows, especially throw in the odd NXT talent in there, and that could be a great way to introduce an NXT talent to the main event roster, rather than just, oh, Shinsuke Nakamura is debuting next week on SmackDown. Shinsuke Nakamura earned his debut on SmackDown by competing in the first couple of rounds of the 2017 King of the Ring tournament. Is a bigger... look at what they did with Finn Balor. On his opening night, he was in a Fatal 4-Way match, and then he went on to beat Roman Reigns the same night. That is how you make an impact. This could be an incredible debuting tool, if they want to use it that way, for talents coming up from developmental. And I'm almost willing to say that this could not just be King of... This is nothing here. This is just my idea. The guys already have the Royal Rumble. The guys already have Battle Royals. The guys already have Elimination Chamber and all these other things for them. Why not do a Queen of the Ring? Why not have, you know, all the women of Raw, all the women of SmackDown compete for a Queen of the Ring? While the Royal Rumble winner gets to go fight off at WrestleMania, the Queen of the Ring gets to go fight for the Women's Championship at WrestleMania. And with the rumor we're going to talk about shortly, possibly choose which women's title she's going to go for at WrestleMania. So very many opportunities for growth and storytelling, especially in the climate that we're in right now. So I really hope that that's true, and I really hope they do something different. And it'll be not to be cliche, because it's the new era of the WWE. This will be the new incarnation, the new generation of the King of the Ring concept, and it'd be really cool to see what they did with it. I mean, the last time we saw a Cruiserweight champion, it was Hornswoggle, but look at the Cruiserweights we've got now. Things can change. WWE planning a shocking feud for Paige at an upcoming pay-per-view. Now, it's been said recently that Paige is quitting, Paige is being fired, Paige is really, really unhappy with politics in the back, rah, about, you know, them drafting her and Alberto to separate shows and trying to split them up, rah. Her mom has been on Twitter basically telling everybody to fuck off. She's got a neck injury, stop preaching doom about her, she's already got enough to deal with, which is fine. But what they have planned for Paige, potentially, could be even cooler. Now, this comes from Ring Talk with 2Ks.com. WWE is really giving it all in their new era. There's really no denying that, especially with the younger superstars being pushed more explicit content on television and feuds that the fans will remember for years to come. While this is all nice and all, and it's all been nice to see, it all pales in comparison to what WWE might have planned for their latest women's division storyline. In fact, this may call for a former women's superstar to make her return in the ring. According to an article from Sportskeeda, I don't know what that is. Why are we beeping? Why is this a thing? WWE could give Paige her edge back in a feud with Stephanie McMahon, which would eventually lead to a big match between her and Stephanie McMahon at the WWE Survivor Series or even WrestleMania 33. Now, while I will say, in all honesty, a story like this and something cool like this should happen at WrestleMania, I'm going to vote for it happening at Survivor Series because I'm going to fucking be there, oh yes. Also, got my NXT Toronto tickets today, so boom, twice. The logic behind this idea would be to give Paige the anti-authority angle on WWE television based on the current frustrations with the system. If this is true, sorry guys, if this is true, it would be the first time that the WWE has seen an authority heel figure since Roman Reigns defeated Triple H at WrestleMania 32. I guess they mean in the ring. The last time we saw an authority figure in the ring. It would also be the first time Stephanie McMahon has wrestled a full match in over 2 years. As for who would come out on top in the feud, I think it would be great for Paige to defeat Stephanie McMahon and reestablish herself as the badass that she really is. Now, the authority thing has been done to death. The anti-authority guy versus the authority figure has been done to death. I will say two things in favor of this, in my personal opinion. The authority thing was obviously born off the back of Vince McMahon versus Steve Austin, and if there's anybody even close to being a Vince McMahon-esque don't give a shit character in the WWE, in the women's division, it would be Paige. And I'm not making an overstatement. I'm not saying she is the next, the next incarnation of Steve Austin. But I mean, the last really big memorable promo she did, she was making fun of Charlotte's dead younger brother, sort of pushing the envelope for sure. The other thing is you can really capitalize on real frustrations. And what I mean by that is, the one thing, no matter what anybody thinks of CM Punk these days, the one thing you remember is the pipe bomb. The one thing we remember about the pipe bomb is that it was so goddamn real, because CM Punk was frustrated in real life to the point where WWE's like, okay, we know you're pissed off, we can't afford to lose you, we're going to give you a mic, go and say what the fuck you want. Now, if Paige is, dealing with injuries, not being booked properly for a while now, plus WWE kind of dicked her as her and Alberto Del Rio were really the only WWE couple to be split up in the draft. I mean, Naomi and whatever Uso she's fucking are still on the same brand. When Nikki Bella comes back, I guarantee you she'll be on SmackDown. Enzo and, actually, Cass and Carmella, I think, are a thing. So that, I might have to go back on that statement. But, several things that she could be working through, like lack of use, which is really, really shitty because Eva Marie gets TV time. The whole Alberto Del Rio situation, wanting to reestablish herself in the division, etc. Plus coming back from a neck injury, and people coming back from a neck injury or any injury for that matter. Same thing's going to happen to Nikki Bella when she comes back. You really worry if the WWE has sort of passed you by in the time that you've been gone. And now that could be if you're gone for a month, that could be if you're gone for a year. You could have some apprehension about that. You could have some second guessing about yourself. And second guessing yourself, I will speak from personal experience, second guessing yourself is the best way to piss yourself off. So Paige has a lot of reasons to come back and be legitimately fueled, legitimately pissed. If they were to give her the ball with that, let her use her actual real frustration in a CM Punk-esque manner, ranting on the authority figure that is Stephanie McMahon, who is, my God, one of the best heel characters WWE has ever created, and one of the best heel characters Vince McMahon has legitimately created with the grapefruits and such. No, Stephanie McMahon's not a full-time in-ring competitor. Yes, I want Paige ultimately to be fighting for a title, fighting big feuds. I want to see Paige versus Becky in a feud. I want to see Paige versus fucking Alexa Bliss. But this will be a spectacle. This will be something different. It would be like... Sorry, guys. It would be like when Vince fought Austin. Vince wasn't a wrestler, but we didn't care because the spectacle of it was so fucking great. If given the proper build and the proper... petri dish to fester in, this could be a very cool element. This could be a very cool feud. This could be a very cool spectacle. Now, and again, I have to go back and say it so that people don't mince my words, because people like to do that on here. I'm not saying that this will be a spectacular match, although Stephanie McMahon may surprise you. Go back in the annals of history, there's a couple decent pay-per-view matches between Stephanie McMahon and Trish Stratus that everybody seems to have forgotten about. Stephanie McMahon lost a I Quit match to her own father on a pay-per-view. This could be something very cool. This could be a launching pad to the division, to those other great matches that we want to see. Paige versus Charlotte, Paige versus Asuka, Paige just obliterating Bayley. That fucking great. Paige versus Liv Morgan actually could be kind of cool too. Paige versus my brand new hometown girl in NXT, Aaliyah. Whoever the fuck this new Ember Moon chick is, but having a feud and kicking the boss's ass and getting that cool factor, that little bit of dust off your shoulder, could be a cool way to bring her back. Like I say, they mention it here. This is something that they would blow off at a WrestleMania. Like, you got one of the McMahons fighting in a one-off match. Vince fights at WrestleMania. Shane fights at WrestleMania. Stephanie should fight at WrestleMania. This is a thing. But my own bias is going to kick in here. I hope it happens at Survivor Series so I can see it live. Oh, yes. Now, the next few things, and I think I got my links all... Oh, my links are all fucked up. See, this is why I don't do topical videos, because it's just a fucking mess. Speculated for a while now since the draft, hey, are they going to have separate titles on separate shows? We know what's going on now with the Universal title on Raw, whatever you feel about that. This is on WrestleZone, but they credit the original information to f4wonline.com. Word backstage is that SmackDown Live will be debuting tag team titles and a new women's title in the near future. The new titles will reportedly debut sometime in the months after SummerSlam, and as a brief look at what they could be doing on SmackDown, the current SmackDown tag team division only consists of the Ascension, Tyler Breeze, Fandango, the Vaudevillains, Usos, and American Alpha. That's not very much, but as I said in my CWC review last night, because both of the Shira brothers have been eliminated from the tournament, I really hope that the WWE signs the Bollywood boys and brings them over to SmackDown, because they could be fun. The women's division right now consists of Naomi, unfortunately, Natalya, Eva Marie, Carmella, Alexa Bliss, Becky Lynch, and Maurice. Now, add to that SmackDown could get its fair share of Nikki Bella, Melina, Victoria, Bayley coming up from NXT quite soon. Raw got Sasha Banks, which is a huge commodity, so I have to believe at some point, as far as commodities from NXT go, Bayley's going to go to SmackDown. She probably had her one day in the sun with Sasha Banks on Raw, and then she's going to go be an asset on SmackDown, because I have to believe that. Asuka is eventually going to come up. Friggin' Nia Jax is around, whatever. It's cool. It really does lead to the whole, the brands are separate. You can't have, you know me. I've always said there shouldn't be two titles, because if there's two titles, then two people can call themselves the best, and if two people can call themselves the best, neither one of them is truly the best. But at the same time, I'm trapped in my own logic, because having one title solidifies that the brands aren't really split. So I gotta kind of force myself to see Raw, SmackDown, and NXT as three separate companies, not just three separate subsections of the same company, and we get titles, and it's all good. But then again, we do have pay-per-views that have existed in the past, during past brand splits, like bragging rights. Now, what I've heard is that WWE is not going to bring back bragging rights, but they're going to bring back a similar brand versus brand pay-per-view and put it under the banner of the old WCW War Games theme. Now, I don't know how that's going to work necessarily, because Raw, that used to be Raw is War, changed its name because the word war was too violent. Now, I don't agree with that. I think that's WWE being a little bit pussy-whipped. But if they couldn't have Raw is War, how are they going to have War Games? Now, this sets up an amazing, amazing thing, because you're going to have... Now, I don't know whether they would include NXT in this or not. You're going to have the world title versus the US title at that brand versus brand pay-per-view. You're going to have tag team champion versus tag team champion. You're going to have women's champion versus women's champion. You're going to have IC versus US, which has happened before. I gotta believe that you would bring somebody up from NXT to fight Raw's Cruiserweight champion, because there would have to be an idea. NXT is great, don't get me wrong, but it has a small roster, a small confirmed, these are full-time NXT guys roster. So whether they mean to or not, there would be an attitude of NXT and SmackDown versus Raw if they did a brand versus brand pay-per-view. But this creates a lot of really cool things. I can imagine if Hideo Itami is the is the NXT champion by then, just as an example, versus, say, Kota Ibushi. Kota Ibushi goes on in the Cruiserweight thing, becomes the Cruiserweight champion, comes over to Raw as the Cruiserweight champion. There's your brand versus brand match right there. NXT champion versus Raw's Cruiserweight champion. Two guys that everybody knows and loves. International superstars getting that international flair. All kinds of great things could come from, having title for title. They don't really have to do anything with the mid-card titles, because they already have two mid-card titles. Just give one to each. So that was a no-brainer. Everything else was a big question mark, and this speculation adds to that, and it's fucking great. Now, as far as the speculation goes, I didn't hear personally about any confirmation about the tag team titles. Apparently that Daniel Bryan confirmed on that new Smack Talk gimmick show that they're doing now on the WWE Network about the tag team titles. I didn't see that, so I'm not going to report on it. But I will say, I'm a little bit biased here. The Bear Hug It Out podcast, who I have said multiple times on here, if you are a person that listens to a lot of wrestling podcasts, a lot more serious, a lot more analytical, you listen to the Jericho podcast, or you listen to the Taz show like I do, or Austin or Flair, anything like that, and you get a lot of serious, like, first-person analogies and analysis that way. Listen to the Bear Hug It Out podcast, guys, because the Bear Hug It Out podcast, although they do have connections, they do have interviews, which I'm going to talk about in a second, they're 5 fans, and the podcast presents itself like 5 fans. But before SmackDown this week, they did get a sit-down interview with Daniel Bryan, where Daniel Bryan confirmed earlier reports that SmackDown will have its own version of the women's title. During the interview, Bryan noted that there will be no rush to introduce this title. Check out the full interview at bearhugitout.com, rah. No rush, I'm thinking, just means we're not going to... I don't think we're going to be waiting 6 months for these titles. I think they had to put in there that there was no rush to create the titles, so that people weren't asking, okay, SummerSlam's coming up, how come we're not seeing these titles yet? We're not going to see these titles at SummerSlam. We shouldn't. SummerSlam is already going to be stacked. You don't need the creation out of thin air of 3 titles. We're already creating one with Rollins versus Balor. And let's be real, when the competitors are Rollins versus Balor, the fans think that the WWE can do no wrong on that one. They have to be a lot more careful with creating another tag title, another women's title, etc. And they shouldn't, or maybe they should, do what I read about here. On Ring Talk with 2Ks.com, they say it's all coming together. WWE has wanted Eva Marie to make a statement in the company for a long time, and no way seems better than to put the newly minted SmackDown women's title on her for the first time. Marie, who was drafted to SmackDown from NXT 2 short weeks ago, but it looks like she's already working as a heel character, and it would get a remarkable amount of heat for her if she was to be the first champion of this new era of SmackDown. As for how it plays out, Eva Marie will continue to feign the injury that she feigned on SmackDown this week, eventually finding herself in a Battle Royal style match with the newly minted title on the line. She then will feign the injury one more time, slide under the bottom rope, hide for a bit. When there's one more competitor left in the ring, she will sneak back in, nail some sort of finisher, because she doesn't have one yet, and eliminate that superstar to become the new women's champion. While the move does have its drawbacks, especially the fact that WWE would be putting a title on a superstar that the WWE Universe literally hates, it would be a great way to eventually build up Becky Lynch or even somebody like Natalya to overcome Miss All Red Everything and bring prestige to the new championship. It also gives the WWE a chance to create a very special moment when Lynch, Natalya, etc. do end up winning the belt. I do agree with this on one level only. I agree with this on the level, it's the Damien Sandow level, and people are going to start fires in the streets that I'm comparing Eva Marie to Damien Sandow. But when Damien Sandow, the intellectual savior of the masses, first debuted, how many times did he come down to the ring, look at his opponent, and say, no, I'm just going to do it? If Eva Marie does this, she's Jarrah trolling, really. She's going to come down, she's going to feign an injury, she's going to walk away from several matches. People are going to get more and more pissed off, legitimately pissed off, because it's wasting time on our television. But the amount of heat that the WWE, not her specifically, because people already hate her, think she sucks, she can't wrestle to save her life, rah, all that training from Brian Kendrick all went to pot, apparently. The heat that would be created by her being the champion will help everybody else. And you're going to think I'm crazy when I say that. But again, I have to go back to CM Punk as the example. CM Punk came into WWE already with a following, already with an indie following, already with an ROH following, already with a true professional wrestling fan following. Everybody knew he was great. Everybody soon realized he was great on the mic. He was already one of our favorite guys before he ever stepped in the ring with John Cena. But the John Cena heat was so nuclear, it galvanized our love for CM Punk at the time. Again, that's going back to then. I'm going back to the Money in the Bank 2011, Cena versus Punk. Punk's last match, he walks out of the arena in Chicago with the title. That moment. I'm talking about something like that. Now, imagine how on fire, no pun intended, because I'm talking about two redheads here. Imagine how on fire the wrestling world would be, how much we would be shitting on SmackDown Creative if they put that title on Eva Marie and she keeps getting by the skin of her teeth, getting herself disqualified, walking away from matches, etc., etc., etc. And then, but in the meantime, we are building up legitimate match history with somebody like a Becky Lynch. And then you get it where she wins a #1 contenders match. They do, during their overseas tour that they usually do after SummerSlam and after WrestleMania, they go over to the UK, England, Ireland, Scotland, etc., etc., etc. Imagine Becky Lynch gets her title shot, her long-awaited title shot, because she hasn't held a belt yet. They give her her title shot in Dublin, Ireland, and she defeats the All Red Everything. The Irish Lass Kicker gets her win in Dublin, Ireland, hometown crowd, get a very, very CM Punk-ish feel. You take it from there, and then, much like CM Punk moved on to Daniel Bryan, you get the match that I want to see, and that's Becky Lynch versus Alexa Bliss for that title. It's fucking great. It's fucking wonderful. I know people are going to hate it, but that's kind of the point, and that's kind of why it would work. In a very, very sick and twisted way, I hope the first NXT Women's Champion is Miss All Red Everything, Eva Marie. Set the world on fire, call me crazy. I'm sure I've said a bunch here that is going to get people calling me crazy, and that's cool, that's okay. I know I'm kind of bumblefuck through this because I don't really do topical videos that much, so if you're still watching this video right now, I thank you. Let me know down in the box below if you want to see more videos like this. I may or may not do videos like this in the future in Google Hangout form. We will just see how that goes. This is a newly developing thing here on this channel. I still want to gauge the interest in videos like this. Or do you prefer me strictly in the review preview format that I've been doing for the past almost 6 years, guys? 6 years. My first video, and I always say this, whenever it comes around to SummerSlam time, I always encourage you guys, go back to my first video. It's a very, very shitty review of SummerSlam 2010. 6 years I've been on this channel. I'm going to have to figure out something to do on this channel to celebrate those 6 years. But always trying to change, always trying to get a good idea of what you guys think, what you guys want to see here. Because I'm not going to, as much as the stuff that I'm talking about here excites me, I'm not going to put shit out there that you guys don't want to see. So I really hope you give me more feedback. Guapo, I got your vote already. We're good. Some of the other ones out there, some of the usual suspects that are always there for my Ask the Phoenix Q&As. Have your voice heard. You guys have been with me for a long ass time. Anyways, hope you guys have enjoyed this. I've been Spaz, your YWC reality check. Subscribe up there, talk down there, start a conversation, keep all these conversations going. Don't be a stranger. I'll talk to each and every last one of you later, but for right now, I'm tagging out. Bye, guys.